I just don't know what to actually watch or review for the channel today. Well, I guess I could review something comic book related. It is the 10th anniversary. And there is a game bit that's just come out. And Valentine's Day is also approaching soon. Fuck it. Guess I'll have to see what's actually on the Xbox store instead. I'll have to go to the Xbox store then. What the fuck? Well, I guess I got no choice but to review Scott Pilgrim instead. Let's get this intro over with then.
This is your path to be. We're all here just for all the fun. Now you're jamming hard, yeah. Hype it up all once again. Hype it up. Now you're jamming hard, yeah. Hype it up all once again. Hype it up.
Let's go back to a simpler time. Let's go back to the year 2004, right? Green Day releases An American Idiot, and it becomes their highest selling album to date. Proper hitting off their career farther than anyone can actually tell. Then, Facebook just launched. Shrek 2, Spider-Man 2, Napoleon Dynamite, Alien vs. Predator, and Hellboy all came out in the same year. And fucking Resident Evil 4 comes out on the PS2 and the GameCube, along with like Manhunt, Legend of Zelda 4 Swords, and loads of other great stuff gets released this year. But you go down into a little store, like a W.H. Smith or your Waterstones or whatever, and you find this nice little book. A little indie comic. Scott Pilgrim's Precious Little Life. And from there on, your life has changed very quickly. Yes, everyone, it is finally here. I'm finally talking about Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I'm talking about the movie mainly, not just the comic. Well, I'm giving a brief history on everything. But for now, we're mainly talking about the movie, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. For those of you who don't know, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is a 2010 action romantic comedy musical based on the comic book series Scott Pilgrim, written by Brian Lee O'Malley. But the movie was directed by Edgar Wright, known for the Cornetto trilogy, which consists of Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. And he was also known for doing Baby Driver and the TV show Spaced. The graphic novel series by Brian Lee O'Malley is split up into 6 different books, and I happen to have all 6 of them. You got Scott Pilgrim's Precious Little Life, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Scott Pilgrim and the Infinite Sadness, Scott Pilgrim Gets It Together, Scott Pilgrim vs. the Universe, and Scott Pilgrim's Finest Hour. Anyway, Edgar Wright was actually consisting of creating the movie since the first book was created, but the book series was never finished. So him and O'Malley started to come up with ideas while the books were still being made. So they were both brainstorming ideas, sending them back and forth. So we got a new book every year up until 2010. Well, late 2010. To promote the movie though, in 2010, only weeks before the movie, about 2 weeks or so before the movie's release, Adult Swim created an animated short called Scott Pilgrim vs. the Animation, which it aired on Adult Swim, and it's only about 5 minutes long, and it copies the whole entirety of the first chapter of the second book. And it has most of the cast, well, only 2 members of the cast in that movie, being the guy that plays Scott Pilgrim, Michael Cera, and the woman that plays Kim Pine. And also, to promote the movie on Free Comic Book Day the same year, Brian Lee O'Malley released a single-issue, one-shot comic book as its own story. I haven't found a copy of it anywhere online, but I'm also going to try and find it one way or another. The movie on its release date didn't do so well at the box office, only making back just about half of its budget. But it did manage to gain a cult following, just like Napoleon Dynamite, by the time the Blu-ray and the DVDs were released. And it got so popular, in fact, that O'Malley decided to re-release the books in the next couple years, being slightly extended and being full-coloured hardcover versions of the books, which I have yet to collect. And it also got even more popular that in 2011, Ubisoft created a 16-bit side-scroller version of the game, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which came out on PC, Xbox 360, and the PS3. I managed to get the 360 version when it came out, but in 2013-2014, the game got removed by Ubisoft off all online platforms, and I can't find a reason why, because I can't find an accurate source material on it. But, luckily, it was announced last Thanksgiving in 2020 that Ubisoft would be re-releasing the Scott Pilgrim game for its 10th anniversary, being Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, the Complete Edition, where you can replay everything in the game, but you got extra modes, like a boss rush, survival horror mode, battle royale, and a dodgeball mode. And also gives you both the DLC characters that you won't be able to play as before, like Knives Chow and Wallace Wells. And it came out on the 14th of January 2021 on Xbox One, PS4, PC, and the Nintendo Switch. And yes, I did manage to buy it to this day as of this recording. So, the basic plot of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. The movie follows Scott Pilgrim, a Canadian guy in his early 20s who's currently dating a high school student called Knives Chow. And he ends up falling in love with this American delivery girl named Ramona Flowers. But in order to date her, he finds out that he must defeat her 7 evil exes in order to actually date her. Pretty simple plot, don't get me wrong. But fun fact about this, aside from the books that I've just shown you, I am a huge fan of the movie. And like I've already mentioned before, not only have I got the books, I got the DVD right here, I've got the soundtrack on both platforms, on both vinyl, and I got it on CD right here. I have 2 versions of the game on the 360 and on the Xbox One, and even better, in 20-something, in the late 2010s, I only managed to get this while I was in college, there's even a card game, a strategy-based deck-building game called Scott Pilgrim's Precious Little Card Game, and I got this for a very nifty price, unfortunately. So, without wasting any time whatsoever, and what I've already wasted your time already, if you haven't seen the Scott Pilgrim movie, click off this video, go somewhere else. It's available on Netflix or to rent on Amazon Prime or whatever you can. Just watch this movie, because there is going to be a lot of spoilers here, and I am not going to hold back on it whatsoever. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy as we take a look into Scott Pilgrim versus the world. So the movie begins off in honestly the best version of the Universal logo, and also with an awesome narration by Flint Lockwood himself, Bill Hader. Which brings us to meet George Michael Bluth, a hipster version of me, Neil, and Second Best Girl, who discuss Scott's current dating situation. Turns out that we didn't know that Scott knew that he was dating a 17-year-old Chinese schoolgirl called Knives Chow. Everything in the first 20 minutes leading up to the first Evil X actually does this in a very almost accurate way to the books. After Scott the Woz has had the best night with the best girl from the comics, and the band play their first proper show at the Rocket, it's here where we meet the first Evil X, Matthew Patel, an Indian guy with mystical powers. After Scott mortal Bollywood's Matt's ass, Scott unfortunately breaks up with Knives in pretty much a very similar way on how awkward I would act as well. But I think Knives took it better than what I would.
Listen, I was thinking we should break up or whatever.
Really?
Yeah. It's not gonna work out.
Nah, Scott, mate, I'll tell you what ain't gonna work. What's not gonna work here is the fact that you're the one leaving me here in a void. No? If it ain't gonna work out, then that'll be it. Fine, fuck it, leave. I don't need you. I need you at all. Scott and Ramona have dinner at Scott's apartment. Scott acts like an absolute total virgin and pussies out of fucking Ramona and takes her out to a castle, where he conveniently comes across Evil X number 2, Captain Lucas Human Torch Lee, who is literally a combination of any assholish actor anyone has ever met, mixed with Tony Hawk. Captain America city escapes down the stairway rail so fucking fast he literally explodes in probably what he was paid in. Bear in mind that this was actually before the MCU actually kicked off properly. Later, Knives goes full stalker on Scott, and realizing that he likes e-girls instead, she decides to dye her hair blue, but fucks it up she fucks it up as much as the Russian government keeps fucking up gay rights. But conflict ensues, where not only Scott encounters his ex, but also meets Evil X number 3, Vegan Vegeta, who outright punches the highlights out of Knives' hair. And then the reason I decided to play bass actually comes up in this quick scene.
Sounds like someone wants to get funky.
So later on, Scott and Ramona go to a nightclub where Scott gets bitch slapped. In my opinion, not the best evil ex in this whole movie. Forgettable Anne, who, if any of you who watch Arrested Development and actually get that reference, thank you. Yeah, he kicks off a very short girl-on-girl fight that only ends in the ex busting a nut so hard she also fucking explodes. George Michael and Ramona have a little bit of a fight, and Scott the Wars is left, unfortunately, heartbroken, but still wants to keep on fighting the rest of the evil exes. Kicking off with Evil Exes 5 and 6, the Katsuyanagi twins, in a kaiju amp versus amp battle, playing the first song I actually learned on bass from this movie. After beating half of the members of BTS, Ramona leaves Scott for Gideon Graves. Scott marches over to kick some ass, but unfortunately gets his ass beaten and, well, in an easier way to put it, dies. Meanwhile, in the afterlife, Scott finds out that Ramona is actually being controlled by the media, pretty much like the British public. Scott explains it also pretty well, in any way any other person could explain it.
That is evil.
So, Scott comes back from the dead, in a better way than Jesus ever could, and actually relives he redoes every single thing, but instead actually stands a chance against Giddydorf by patching things up with knives and loads of other characters, ends up doing a 2-player combo, and Gideon is finally defeated. Now I think it's time that we talk about the original ending of the movie. In the original ending, Scott was supposed to end up with knives, but unfortunately, Edgar Wright and also Brian Lee O'Malley realised, along with the test audiences, that Scott's journey would have been all for nothing. So, after a quick little reshoot, they ended up getting the ending from the comics, with Scott and Ramona finally ending up being together. Thus concludes the story of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Now it's time to talk about the characters, but I'm only going to be focusing on 3 major aspects of the entire movie. Starting off with Scott himself, Scott is portrayed almost exactly how he is from the comics, if not being a little bit more mentally spaced out than the lovable idiot with a heart of gold from the comics. Then we got Ramona. Yeah, aside from looking exactly how she does in the source material, she is actually a very stone cold bitch in this movie. But not like someone who is just sometimes mildly annoyed in the comics, but also loves Scott no matter what, either way. Then you got the evil exes. The 7 evil exes are portrayed they are portrayed literally exactly how they are from the comics. Near enough to what they actually could do with that small budget and what they had. They look exactly how they do, even getting their personalities right down, apart from the Katsuyanagi twins, because neither of them had lines in the movie, whereas in the novel, they actually did. But other than that, the casting for it is perfect. Now let's talk about my final verdict for Scott Pilgrim. I know I'm not wearing my hat at the moment because I'm still recording this. I have no idea what fucking day it is at the moment. Anyway, yeah, my final verdict. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is one of those few perfect movies that actually still exist, where you always find something new in every movie. Kind of like every time you watch the Cornetto trilogy, or like the Lego movie, or anything like that. where you always find a tiny little reference every time you rewatch it every now and then. Even in the background design as well, you always find like small little in-jokes and crap like that. Always. But yeah, I'm obviously going to end up repeating myself with this, but if you want to check, you have to check Scott Pilgrim out. It is a fantastic movie. Read the comic books, watch it right now. It's available on Netflix and Amazon and possibly anywhere else. You could probably find it online. Listen to the soundtrack, you can find it on Spotify very easily. And also don't forget to play the video game as well, because it's available on anything at the moment apart from, I don't know if it's available on the new Xbox or the PS5, but you can definitely get it on Switch and PC and the Xbox One and the PS4. But overall, I do recommend you guys check out the whole, like the series as a whole. And let's continue to the next part of the video. Quick shout out before we end the video. Quick shout out to a few of my friends, Kira Onigiri, who I'll put her name on the screen here, like anywhere on the screen here, to her Instagram, so you can also check her out. Also, a quick shout out to her YouTube channel as well. I'll put a link in the description down below, so you can go check her content out. Also, another shout out to my friends Coral and Josh. I'll put the name of their channel on the screen here, and I'll put a link in the description to their channel down below. You can check out their podcasts and Josh's content. Yeah, Coral and Josh's content on there as well. And if it's your birthday today, happy freaking birthday. I got nothing else to add. If you like Scott Pilgrim, definitely check it out. It's available on Netflix and Amazon at the moment. Buy the DVD, get it on Blu-ray or whatever. Listen to the soundtrack on its own. And if you want, play the video game. It's currently available on PS4, Xbox One and the Nintendo Switch and on PC. For a very fair price as well. I've been Bloody Jack, and this has been my review on Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share on your social medias, and also follow me on my social media pages. Down in the description down below you'll have the links to my Reddit, my Twitch, my Twitter, and my Facebook page, and my Instagram. Also, I'll be officially doing weekly live streams on just random shit. Either it'll be me just chatting about random shit, or I will be playing video games live on Twitch as well. So yes, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and follow me on all my socials. You'll find that down in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next video.